Welcome back to another episode of Champs Drink Champs. I'm your host, Shelby, and I'm all alone again because this is our life and things are just really crazy right now for Taylor and I. So we are doing the best we can with what we've got, and that means recording solo episodes a lot right now. We are about to take our season 2 break. So this episode will come out this week, and then next week you will have an episode with Taylor and I finally together, and then that will be the last episode of season 2 of Champs Drink Champs. So let's get right into it. Well, actually, let's back up for a second. We're not going to start with the topic. I just got back from Brazil. That was super crazy and a super amazing experience. A huge shout out to Taylor for recording solo all the time while I'm like doing all this crazy stuff for work. It's definitely helpful having her as my co-host because she's an amazing team player, and I'm just really lucky that she's able to do that and willing to do that. And yeah, really appreciate that. I hope you guys have been enjoying her episodes, and also I hope you guys have missed having us both on the podcast. Another quick thing, it was just recently Mother's Day, so I hope all of you moms out there or people that are unable to be moms or have wanted to be moms or are struggling to become a mom, whatever that looks like for you, I hope you all had an amazing Mother's Day and you were spoiled rotten. I hate that Mother's Day has to be a thing necessarily, because I think moms should definitely be treated amazing all the time. But hopefully you had an amazing day, and if you didn't, maybe you should figure out why that's happening and tell people in your life to like get it together or go away, because you deserve that. Anyways, hopefully it was a great day. All right, so what we're talking about today is taking control of your life, grabbing the bull by the horns, whatever you want to call it. The reason I wanted to talk about this today is I have quite a few people in my life, I would say, that aren't necessarily struggling to the fullest extent. There are some people that are struggling to the fullest extent for sure. And then I also have some people in my life who are just like really negative and lost right now, and they just are unwilling or unable to take a hard look in the mirror and take control of their life. And that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it today, because I think it's a really hard topic for people, and I also think it's important to break down certain parts of it and maybe just give you some tools that you can use to hopefully take control of your life. So that's what we're talking about today. It's going to be very direct because I'm the only one talking about it today, so you don't get the softer side coming from Taylor, but you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. So there you have it. Okay, hold on. Again, if you're watching me on YouTube, you know that the breaks are because I'm taking a sip of wine. If you're not watching me on YouTube, then you just wonder why I went silent. Okay, so taking control of your life. I would say this is a huge thing. That's a personal journey. I think it's something that's very different for every single person. I think you have to define what control means for you. What does taking control of your life look like? Do you need to take control of your life? Why do you feel like you should take control of your life? And really specify what that means specifically for you. So define what that looks like for you, define control, and define what that looks like for you. So that would be step numero uno. The next thing I would say is accept yourself and your life as is. So you may be feeling in a rut. You may be feeling like you want to change something. You may be feeling like you're out of control with your life, or that you really want to accomplish something and it's just not happening and you're struggling all the time and you can't figure it out. Any of those feelings are a huge sign, I guess, that is like your body and your mind are telling you like, hey, we have more in us, like figure it out. So I think the biggest part with that too is like accept who you are, what you're capable of, and then also accept your life as it is. Like it's amazing to want other things. It's amazing to look at somebody and be like, damn, I wish I had that. That's great for motivation. But don't look at it so aggressively that it makes you judge your life as it currently is in a negative light, or make you unhappy in your current life. Because no matter what, like you still are here, you still have an amazing life, you still have opportunities every day, you wake up every day, you are breathing, you're healthy, whatever. You have every opportunity to continue to make changes if you want to, but you need to accept your life where it is right now and be happy with it. Don't be negative about it. Don't complain about it. Don't be like, oh my God, this is so annoying. Like, I work so hard and everything's terrible all the time. And we can never make it. We can never get by. That mentality and those conversations you're having, even if you're not speaking them out loud, are for sure going up into the universe, and they're for sure making it so you're not going to make any progress. So make sure you're accepting it for what it is, and you accept yourself for who you are and what you have inside of you and what you're actually capable of, because some people just don't have what other people have, and that's okay. And some people don't have the same skills or drive or personality, or they have like mental health issues that block that, like whatever it is, all of those things go into it. So accept it and be happy with it, and then build on that. Like, you can change anything you want to change. I'm gonna take a sip after that TED Talk. Okay, next, step 3, consider your values. So your values are predefined by you and only you. So stop and think about what values you have in your life for yourself. Again, this is all just for you. It's not for your family, all for you. And really decide what those values are and what matters to you, so that you can use those to help you build the goals and skills that you need to take control of your life. Next step, identify what you want to change or achieve. So this could be a lot of things. This could be a couple of things. It's really up to you and what you want to take control of in your life. However, when you're identifying those things, you have to write it out. You have to sit and literally write it down. You can write it down in a note. It could be an electronic note, or you could write it in an email to yourself, whatever you want to do, a Word document, or you could literally get a piece of paper and write it out. But you need to identify what it is that you want to change or what you want to achieve. And you need to be very specific on it. Like, if I wanted to change, let's see, let me think if there's one in my life right now. I don't know. My life's really crazy right now. But I would say, like, one thing I want to change is I want to be eating better, because my life's really crazy and I am having a hard time loving myself. And so one of those things that I'm having a hard time with is how my body looks and feels. And it looks and feels like shit because I'm not eating the things that I should be eating sometimes, or I'm overeating when I do it. So like, I probably would be fine if I didn't eat 6 pieces of chocolate, just barely. That's like a very specific thing. So I'm identifying like my eating habits, and I need to break that down, and I need to buy the groceries. I need to plan the meals, all of those types of things. And I can't buy the shit that's bad for you. Like, I wouldn't have eaten 6 chocolates just barely if we didn't buy the 6 chocolates. So identify what it is that you want to change or achieve. Make sure it's very specific. Make sure you write it out and like build on what you wrote out. So that goes into the next point, which is number 5, which is create specific measurable goals. So you can't create specific measurable goals if you didn't identify what it is that you want to change or what you want to achieve. I would add to that too, like, if you're going to create specific goals, you can also create micro goals. You can make them smaller. One of mine could be, I'm not going to eat candy or sugar or something for 1 week. That's a micro goal that adds to my bigger goal of I'm going to stop eating like shit. So break them down into smaller things that can give you that excitement of like, I made progress towards this thing. And that will help you keep adding and adding and adding, because it's 1 week. You can do anything for 1 week. You could even break it down further. You can do something for 2 days. Maybe it's I read 2 times a week and it's a physical book. Okay, 2 times is easy. All you have to do is be intentional about it, but you have to be very, very specific that that's what you're going to do. And if you're going to break it down into a micro one, you have to be specific about what that micro goal looks like. You have to put a time frame on what micro is, or be specific of what that micro goal is. The next one, well, it kind of goes into it. It would be to break your goals down into manageable steps. So I think that that's part of those micro goals. And I think you have to create a layout or a plan. If you don't do that, it's always just an idea. If you don't create a goal and break it down into manageable steps, it's just a thought in your head, and you'll constantly be coming back to this point of like, oh, I really wish I started my business, or I really wish I changed jobs, or I really wish I went back to school and learned these new skills that I know I need. Whatever it is, if you don't do something to develop those steps and those specifics, it's always just going to be a thought in your mind that you're constantly kicking yourself over of like, why haven't I done this? I feel like shit because I want to do this. I just don't do anything about it. That's you not taking control of your life, and we're trying to fix that, girl. Hold on, taking a sip. It's hard to record by yourself and have breaks to take drinks. It's very annoying. Okay. This goes into it as well. Develop a plan and a timeline. So back to what I was saying, like you have to be specific about it. You have to create that plan. You have to break it down into steps, and then you need to put timelines on it. You need to put specifics around what that looks like for you. When I went back to school, I had a huge goal of like bust it out as fast as you can. I really wanted to do it in 18 months. And ultimately I probably could have. However, I was unable to keep up with that pace and continue to enjoy life the way that I would like to enjoy it, or be present with my family. So like I had that in my mind as a goal. I had to adapt what that timeline looks like and then just like accept it and take it easy. But if I didn't put something like that on it, I for sure know that I would have like backed out. I'd have been like, it's too long. I don't want to commit to something for that long. So create the goal, put a timeline on it that's going to motivate you and excite you, but then be willing to adjust or adapt based off of like what's really going on. Just don't give up. But yeah, creating a timeline or specific on what it looks like is super helpful. That's why like people that want to lose weight before a huge event, that's why they have so much success, because there's such a timeline on it. There's like, you're not moving that because it's out of your control. If it was a wedding, that wedding date's not changing. So you know that it's not going to be a moving timeline. It's like, I have until this day. If I want to take this serious, this is my timeline. And you can put like those countdown trackers to like help you know how many days or weeks you have left. Like things like that are super helpful, so you know where you're at within that timeline. All right, the next one is stay accountable by tracking your progress. I also think it's super important to share your like goal or your plan with somebody that will hold you accountable, and like help you stay on track. So like it's cool and all to like do it silently, but it's really hard sometimes if you don't have someone that you can check in with, that can like see what you're doing socially or at work and be like, hey, I thought you weren't doing that anymore, or hey, I thought you had a goal to like do XYZ, whatever it is. Even that little thing of like, oh, you're right. There's been times where I've told friends at work or just my regular friends or people at home, I've been like, I don't want to eat this. And I would go to eat it, and they'd be like, I thought you weren't eating that. And I was like, oh shit, you're right. Because sometimes you mindlessly do something and you're not remembering your goal in that moment. And it's really helpful to have someone that can hold you accountable. But I also think it's important that you track your progress to hold yourself accountable. So like if it's a weight thing, you're tracking your weight. If it's an eating thing, you're tracking your food in like a food log. If it's a work thing, you're tracking it down in like a spreadsheet or something that you can use to like identify that you've accomplished those things, like a project management tool. If it's a relationship thing that you're working on, you have a note in your phone and you're constantly like breaking it down into whatever timeline you created, and you're making notes about like, we did this, we did that, like whatever it looks like for you based off of what you're trying to take control of, but you need to be tracking it. And like tracking it looks like writing it down or tracking it in a note or a notebook or something, but you tracking it mentally is not going to work. The next one is, ooh, this one's so intense. Surround yourself with supportive people. And we say that a lot. Like we probably almost say that to you every time we record, but Yeah, if you don't have people in your life that are supporting your goals or supporting your life or supporting you, it's impossible for you to make progress, and it's impossible for you to find your identity, kind of like that episode we recorded about like who are you, like, and finding out who you are and your identity. If you don't have supportive people in your life, you're never going to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. It's just plain and simple, that blunt. If you have people that are in your circle and they are the people that you talk to, and they're the people involved in your life, and they're the people that know what's going on in your life, and they do not support you, you will have zero progress. Even if you started to make progress, they would do something or say something or influence you to do the opposite, and you would go right back to that spot that you started at. So most people, they aren't supportive. They don't want you to grow. They don't want you to have success, and they don't want you to do anything that's better than them. And that's just the facts. So I think it's important with that too, that you also look at what supportive people looks like to you. So if you're going to surround yourself with supportive people, what does support look like? What kind of support do you need to be successful? What kind of support do you need to feel accomplished or happy or motivated? Just because their family does not give them permission to be your supportive people. If you want to do something and you know that they are in an unhealthy place, family, friends, work, whoever, you have to take a hard look at what support means to you and how it's affecting you and how it's affecting the people around you, and really decide if you want them in your life while you go on this journey. And maybe you take a break and it's short term, and maybe it's long term. That is always up in the air, but that's the risk you have to take if you want to be successful and take control of your life, because you can bitch and complain about your life all you want, and you can cry and you can be upset and you can be like, I wish this and I wish that. But if you don't do anything to fix it, and you don't do anything to fix the people in your life, you're going to still be crying and bitching and complaining, and people are going to get sick of it. And then what are you going to do? You're going to lose some people that you probably didn't want to lose. So figure out what support looks like to you, figure out what kind of support you need, and then evaluate. We have a podcast episode, I'm pretty sure, about evaluating the circle in your inner circle. I think it's that, your inner circle episode. I'll make sure I find that and link that for you guys. I'm gonna make a note right now so I don't forget. Hold on. Okay. See how quick that was. Anyways, yeah, evaluate what that looks like in your inner circle, who fits, who doesn't, who is willing to adjust their standards so that they can fit. If you said something like, hey, this is a goal I have, I really need you to be supportive. If you can't be supportive, then I'm going to be taking like a little bit of space, and like I need you to adapt. If you know they're not going to adapt, sorry, you should do something about it. If you don't, you can't complain. It's just not allowed. The next one, I'm gonna take a sip after that because people don't like when I see these things. All right, number 10, take action when you don't feel motivated. And I think that one is probably one of the most annoying things, because you will not be motivated 100% of the time. And more than likely, you won't even be motivated 70% of the time, 75% of the time, 50% of the time. It is really hard to have motivation, especially when you're doing something big, you're working on a life goal, you're reevaluating your whole entire life, you're taking control of your life. It's going to be really, really hard. But if you make the micro goals, you make a timeline, you have your manageable steps, you have a plan, all of those things, even if you're not motivated, it's simple. You've written it down. You know exactly what you need to do. You know that, like, I know I don't want to do this, but all I have to do is go take the pre-workout. All I have to do is wake up and go. All I have to do is go outside and walk. I don't have to do this super extreme workout that I was going to do. All I have to do is send the email. All I have to do is make the phone call. Whatever it is, as long as you have that plan, you're going to know exactly what to do. And you won't be motivated. But once you start doing it, you'll find that most of the time your motivation comes back the second you take even a single step of action. Next one. I love this one. Celebrate your successes along the way. And I love this in general, but I also love it if you make your micro goals, or you have things in a timeline that aren't like long term. This one's so fun because you get to check things off your list or reach a milestone and be like, holy shit, I'm one step closer. One thing I love is like a progression bar that shows you like the percentage completed. It sounds cheesy. It's probably because I'm an Enneagram 1, but you can get things like that where you can track your progress, and it will be like, you're 30% done, and you would make your own checklist. So you could build out your plan, you could build out your timeline, your steps, whatever, and then it would tell you your percentage. And I don't know, it's just really exciting. It keeps you motivated. It's fun. And also gives you permission to celebrate. And celebrating can look like whatever you want. It can be getting a cookie. It can be going to the lake. It can be going to the mall and buying yourself something. Literally anything that you want it to be. It can be simple. It can be big. But either way, you should celebrate it and you should talk about it. You can post it on social media. Sometimes I do that. And it's like, I'm only doing it for myself. I don't actually care if anyone applauds me. I'm doing it because it's like, yeah, I'm going to write this out and I'm going to be like, hell yeah, this just happened. And it just feels nice to celebrate yourself. So you should definitely do it. And you should definitely do it every time you reach a milestone. The next one, number 12, embrace failure as a learning opportunity. I would also add to that too, if you're not failing your goals, you aren't challenging or changing yourself. So like, at some point you should fail. At some point you should mess up. At some point you should be like, what the fuck? I think that was the first time I just said that. So proud of myself. I'm going to celebrate that with a sip of wine. Okay. Now I've lost track because I was so excited for myself. Basically, if you aren't failing, you aren't challenging, and you aren't changing yourself. So anytime that you're doing anything in life, if it is easy and it's all going smooth, and never once have you been like, that was a hiccup, oh, that was a mess up, oh, this isn't going well, I need to pivot, this plan's not working, we need a new plan. If you're not having those conversations, your goals aren't big enough, and you're not actually doing anything that's going to change your actual life. You're going to stay in the same rut that you're in, the same lane that you're in, the same progress place that you're in. Like, it will always be that same area if you're not having these conversations of, oh, that's not working, oh, this didn't go well, oops, that's a mistake, we need to change it, next time I know better. Like, that's just that simple. Keep pushing forward and never give up on yourself. I think that's one that I've noticed the most with people is they start and then they stop. They start and then they stop. And then they get in these huge like ruts of negativity, of they're trying a bunch of different things, they're all over the place, they are saying one thing, doing the other, all of those things. And no matter who talks to them, no matter what happens, no matter how much it's ruining their life or ruining their energy or making them someone that no one wants to be around, they just keep staying there because they haven't started back over. So anytime, this is a huge, like, this is so stupid, but like a huge thing in like project management and things that I learn in school or at work, every step, every plan always has an area where it's like, okay, now that you've gotten to this fourth step and you had a hiccup, go back to step one and start over. And you have to be doing that. You have to be evaluating the situation. If you hit a roadblock, you hit a stop point, you're like, how the fuck did I get here? It's been 3 months and I stopped doing all my goals. You don't get to just pick it up. You got to start right back at square one. You got to start with all these steps. You got to figure out where you're at, identify what you actually want to accomplish, realize where you messed up and how you lost motivation, and then make better steps, better timelines, better plans that you know you can actually stick to so you don't fail. But accepting it as this is just where we're at and I'm constantly on the struggle bus is not it's an excuse. and you're giving up on yourself and you're giving up on like the life that you actually want. So you must always keep pushing forward and never give up and be willing to start over and recreate a new plan. And the last thing I will add is back to kind of like the step before this one, like you have to always be learning, you have to always be growing, you have to be challenging yourself, and you have to constantly be looking for a change with all of those together: learning, growing, challenge, and change. If you're not going to do that, it's just going to fall flat. Like you have to grow, you have to change, you have to challenge yourself, you have to be learning. And if you're going through a phase and you keep messing up, you're not learning. So reflect on that and decide, like, where have I gone wrong? What can I do to fix this? I would say too, like one of the biggest ways that I've been able to move forward in situations like this is having a lot of time for myself and like self-care. Not a lot, but like taking the time that I need, giving myself the space I need to have this conversation with myself of like, I'm unhappy. What is making me unhappy? How can I fix it? And what am I going to do about it? And unfortunately for myself, I've grown up in a situation where I've watched a lot of people do a lot of things, or I've seen them mess up. And I always was like, I don't want to be in this situation. I don't want to go through that experience. I don't want to be like this person. And so it's given me this like internal drive of like, this is where I want to go and nothing can stop me. And sometimes that's great and sometimes that's bad, because it makes it really easy for me to blow off situations. It makes it really easy for me to have less emotions tied to things. But I wouldn't trade it, because it's what's given me this extreme motivation and drive that I have. But I think it's important that you are able to find space to have those conversations where you can look at other people's lives, you can reflect on your life, you can decide what kind of life you want. And it takes having boundaries with yourself. It takes telling people like you're unavailable, and it takes telling your husband, I'm doing this and it's okay that I'm doing it alone because I need some fucking space. It's okay to be like, I want to sit outside in silence and I don't want a single kid to bother me. It's okay for you to tell your husband, this isn't what like you want to hear, but I want you guys to leave the house so I can be at home alone. There was a period when we first moved into our new house where like I was so busy all the time, and Wally was always able to be at home like alone and have all this space and like just really like relish in our house. And I was getting so jealous, and I eventually had to be like, listen, I haven't had a single moment that was more than like 10 minutes alone in our house. I can't, like, that's unacceptable to me. So I had to like be vocal about it. I had to figure out a plan. And your partner should be supportive in any of this too. Like if you don't have a partner that's supportive, I don't want to say it, but like that's a huge thing that you have to look into. Like if you don't have a supportive partner to go through all of these things, you don't have a supportive friend to go through all of these things, you got to find that. And if you can't find that with the people you're with, then you got to find new people, or you got to be alone and be okay that you're alone figuring it out, because they will always hold you back. They will always make it harder for you, and you'll constantly be out of control with your own life. Another thing that I've found personally to be really helpful in situations like this is to I read quotes a lot. Quotes help me get motivation to like inspire myself, I guess, to like work on these things, or books around like something. If it's a business goal, I want to be a better leader, I want to be a better boss, whatever. Reading a book, a business book, will always help me. If it's the podcast, let's say, if I'm like, I want to be a better podcaster, I want to be a better podcast host, I'll be reading blogs, I'll be researching, I'll be looking at other people's content, trying to figure out like, okay, I like that they did this, how can I do something similar that's still right for me? Like, so do your research, investigate, gain information, but you have to have an idea of what you want. You have to have something that you're looking for. You have to have an area that you're looking on focusing on. Like if it's yourself, if it's your work, if it's a business, if it's your family, if it's your creative side, like literally anything. But you can't just be wandering around trying to accomplish a million different things. You have to put them in their specific areas so you know, and you have to be willing to dedicate specific time to each. You cannot accomplish all of these things at once. There's going to be some that you focus on more And there's going to be some that you're like, at some point, this is it. I'm still going to maintain it. I'm still going to be like aware of it. I'm still going to, if I see something that I know ties into that, I'll look into it, or I'll make the time for it. All of it takes time, dedication, organization, which is a weird thing, but it's true. And just, I don't know, focus. You have to be focused on it. So I'm trying to think if there's any other tips that I would give to take control of your life. Honestly, the only tip I would give is stop being a little bitch, stop complaining to everyone around you, stop like wallowing in your pity and wallowing in your negativity and bringing people around you into this negative cycle of always talking about something hard and always talking about the negatives and judging other people, like all of the negative things. Like, just stop being a little bitch and focus on yourself and make shit happen in your life, and you will attract the things that you need to attract. Like, that is what it is. It's okay to bitch for like a day. It's okay to bitch every now and then when something catastrophic happens. It's okay if you're having a moment. If every time you are with somebody or you see them post on social media and it's constantly negative and it's constantly judgmental, or it's constantly this like cycle of you're like, I don't even like listening to this, or why are we always talking about this? Why can't we ever have fun? Why can't we ever like just talk about the fun stuff? And why can't we just talk about simple things? Why do you always want to talk about your bullshit? If you're saying that in your head, you need to personally evaluate, like, should I be around this person? Do I need to give it some space? But also, if you're that person, you should stop doing it. No one wants to be around that. And yeah, just stop being a little bitch. So this is a very short episode. Sorry, not sorry. But those are the tips I have for you to take control of your life. I hope that they help you. I hope that my directness motivated you and didn't make you be like, God damn, you're so extreme. But also, I am so extreme. But that's why I accomplish a lot of shit in life, because I am rigid and I'm motivated and I'm no bullshit. And I will tell people in my life the things that they need to hear to get their ass up and go. And if you don't want to get your ass up and go, then accept your life as it is, and then just be happy and stop bringing people down around you. That's it. If you liked anything about this episode, I hope that you would share it with a friend. I hope that you would share it on your social media so that other people can find our podcast. And I'm really looking forward to recording with Taylor next week. And I'm a bit sad because we'll finally get to record together and then our season's ending. But we have a lot of planning we need to do, a lot of reevaluating we want to do with the podcast. We'll still be posting on our socials, obviously. And I really just like hope you guys stick around till we come back till season 3. And I hope that if you do anything from this episode about taking control of your life, that you'll check in with me and tell me what you did and let me like celebrate that with you, because that's really exciting. Oh, and another thing that I'm really looking forward to recording with Taylor is our Dear Champs Drink Champs segment, because it's just not as fun to say them by myself. I was going to do one, but the one I want to do that just was submitted recently, I really need Taylor to answer it with me because we have very different opinions on it. So I'm not going to do one. It would be weird to answer it by myself, because I think it's good to have both people's perspective, because like I just said, I'm very rigid and very extreme and also a bit blunt and harsh. So it'd be nice for you guys to get the softer side. If you're not following us on social media, please go follow us on Instagram or Facebook or both. Like and subscribe to us on YouTube. And if you're feeling very kind, you could leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast. And I think that's basically what Taylor says. And maybe I'm getting better at closing. Anyways, hope you have a great week, and we will talk to you next time.